our kid is Peanut. He just turned 12. So like as a parent, when you see your child discover something for the first time, it's like you're just as excited as they are. Like when he first took his first step, he was so excited, and I was there to see it. So with Portia in our relationship, when she found Kiva, like she was excited because Kiva was like she was out in the open with her diabetes. Like she showed it on her Instagram. Like she was proud of it. And for Portia at the time, she wasn't as outward with it. It was still sort of private. So when you guys connected and started hanging out with each other like that, for her was like that moment. Like
Welcome to the Sweet Tea Dialogues Valentine's Day edition, a conversation on caring for a diabetic partner, which is definitely a labor of love. Right, guys?
Yes.
My name is Portia Benbow. I am type 1 diabetic. I've been diabetic for 26 years in April, and I have my amazing husband slash care partner, Kenneth, right here with me. How long have you been a caretaker, a care partner?
almost 11 years.
11 years. Wow, that's a long time. To my right and to my left, we have two additional couples, one of which is a type 1 diabetic and the other is a care partner. And so, Keneya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Keneya Thompson. I've been a type 1 diabetic for 24 years this month. And this is my amazing care partner, Theo, who has been a care partner for
About 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yep, he got it.
And Keiva and Corey.
Hi, everyone. My name is Keiva Cheney, and I'm a type 1 diabetic as well. I've been diabetic for almost 7 years in June. And here next to me is my amazing care partner. He's been a care partner, caregiver for almost, how long now?
It's been about 5 years as well.
Okay, so Corey Earls, everyone. Yes.
So I guess you kind of the OG, babe, because you've been a care
Yeah.
partner for almost 11 years, and we have 5 and 5. So this first question is for you, and then we'll kick it to whoever else wants to chime in. What are some of the challenges of being a care partner, or what is the hardest part about being a care partner?
I think for me, one of the harder parts is not being able to take it away. Because as a man, as a husband, one of the things that you take pride in is easing the life of your partner. Um, so this is something that I have no control over. So the best thing I can do is be an asset, be supportive. So I think that was the hardest transition for me. Is to just be there from a support standpoint. Because it's nothing that I can do, it's nothing that I can take away. So all I can do on the best day is just be an advocate, be a support system for you. So that for me is at times still tough. Because I never want to see you go through anything if I'm in the area or if I'm around you. But this is one of those things that I have no control over. So that part, just like standing on the sidelines and like helping, is tough. But that's one of the things. I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree actually that I'm a natural problem solver, and I can't really solve for this. I can try to mitigate it, do what I can to do what's asked of me. Um, but I'll say on a lighter note, one of the challenges is just getting a full night of sleep. Uh, that is a challenge.
Listen,
Well, what keeps you from sleeping? Let the world know.
Right.
Alarms. I don't even know what is it called. CGG. It's got a bunch of acronyms. It's loud, and it wakes me up a lot. So I used to be a deep sleeper. I'm not anymore.
I want to like recently. I also got a pump that vibrates, and I took the sound off. But like in the middle of the night, sometimes that buzzing will come through. Like even this morning, I tried to like get back into bed. He was really asleep, and I know he looks over because he was like, I've never heard it do that many times in a row before. So yeah, he's a trooper, and I am affecting his sleep schedule. For sure. That's love, y'all.
I am dying because that's so true.
Um, to kind of piggyback on that, to both points, what they're saying is accurate. But like you said, just knowing it's something that it wasn't really her fault or nothing she did that made this come about, and nothing we can kind of really do to just make it disappear. That is something that you kind of deal with on a daily basis. But seeing her kind of navigate that is kind of it's encouraging for sure. But yeah, the sleep in.
We back at the sleep.
Yeah, no, it's a real thing because you need that, you need it, especially as like you said, when you're somebody that's a problem solver or somebody that as a provider, as a man, and you want to go out and take care of things and do things for your family outside of the home, and you need to be able to, you need to be able to recharge that battery to be able to do so. So but it's just a small thing to the entire process. So it's cool.
And y'all get good sleep some nights. It's not every night.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
We can do nights.
I mean, just imagine having to get up and work. But you guys do. You guys are so supportive. And, I try to turn off my alarms when I can. So we appreciate y'all. Okay, so we talked about challenges. What are some of the best parts of being a care partner or the rewards of being a care partner?
Rewards. I would say, like I mentioned, just seeing that your partner constantly fight something that we know isn't going anywhere, and you know what type of partner that you're kind of going through life with. It's extremely, like I say, encouraging to know what you're, going through life with, battling with. So just being in this space or having the opportunity to be a care partner, I would say it's encouraging to see.
I know you got plenty of rewards. You got all the things to say, right?
So I think one of the more rewarding things. So like me, our kid is Peanut. He just turned 12. So like as a parent, when you see your child discover something for the first time, it's like you're just as excited as they are. Like when he first took his first step, he was so excited, and I was there to see it. So with Portia in our relationship, when she found Keiva, like she was excited because Keiva was like she was out in the open with her diabetes. Like she showed it on her Instagram. Like she was proud of it. And for Portia at the time, she wasn't as outward with it. It was still sort of private. So when you guys connected and started hanging out with each other, like that for her was like that moment. Like when Peanut took his first steps and he was just cheesing. Like when she came home, she's like, babe, she is so cute. She be on Instagram. She be having her pump showing. Like she was so excited. So like for her to have that moment, because it's something that she's dealt with for almost 25 years, and she was still kind of to herself about it. So when she saw someone that was so confident about it, so outward with it, like that gave her a different level of confidence. So seeing her discover that when she found that relationship with you, like for me, like that was an awesome experience because I know what it means to her. I know how it impacts her. So if she met someone that gives her that confidence, like that, for me as her man, like that made me feel good. So like that was an awesome moment for us.
So shout out to you for reposting her because that's how I found her. I knew Corey first, and then he reposted her, and I was like, "Who's this cute girl Corey talking to? Let me go be nosy." And that's how that happened. So yes,
That's funny because Keneya did the same thing. As soon as she went, I forget what the first outing was. Was it a brunch or a brunch? She's like, oh, I got these. I was like, okay, that's what's up. Like get your community right. Like I can help as best I can, but at the end of the day, I'm not living it right. So I have to recognize that as much as I want to help. But I definitely think that's 100% a reward. And I think to your point of seeing your wife be confident in herself. I've seen that with Keneya, and that is rewarding in itself to watch her growth in that and just feel more confident in it, right? Like, hey, this is me. It is what it is. I see her in where we go? We went somewhere, Jamaica. She had her swimsuit on, just had it showing. I was like, yeah. Like, don't nobody care. Let them see it. So, trust me, ain't nobody looking at that anyway. So I had to cover her up. Anyway, so yeah.
Theo, in 3 words, how would you describe the caregiving experience?
I think it can be rewarding in itself, right? Just I think me being me, and Keneya being Keneya, it is rewarding. I don't know if I want to use the word chaotic, but that's the best thing.
That's a good word.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
That's a great
It could be chaotic. You just never know, right? What's gonna happen? And maybe my 3rd word would be. as much as it's chaotic, I would say also consistent. So there's a certain consistency in knowing, hey, like Keneya loves to cook. I know she's gonna cook healthy food for herself, and low key it helps me too. So maybe in that way, some type of consistency. But yeah.
So 3 words. And I think the first would be for me is humbling, because I wear glasses. So glasses for me is an inconvenience. But having diabetes is not something you can necessarily fix. So it's humbling to see how you manage like the day to day, every day, with dealing with being type 1 diabetic. For me, the second one would be it's a level of anxiety that never fully goes away. Because of how I am when it comes to you and when it comes to Peanut, there's always a level of anxiety. Want to make sure you're good, make sure you've eaten, things like that. And then I think the third one would be it's rewarding to see where you were when we met versus where you are now when it comes to the nonprofit, when it comes to all the things you're trying to do, giving back, reaching out to people other than yourself. Like, it's rewarding just because I know how it started and I see where it's going and I see where you are. So that part is extremely rewarding.
I would say first, patience, because you need a lot of patience. And a good thing for myself, I kind of real chill, mild-mannered person, like seem like you gentlemen are as well. So patience is something that I didn't have to. You still have to kind of work on it in this particular space and aspect of it, just to be, because like you said, whether it's like it's consistently chaotic, so you need patience to be able to deal with that. I mean, on a daily basis. So I mean, patience would be one. I would say another would be impact. Just seeing the impact diabetes can have on an individual, the impact an individual can have on diabetes. So I would say impact on both sides. And the third would be, it's a small 4-letter word, just care, because it shows you how much you can really care for somebody while they're going through certain situations that you may not understand, may not have the answers to, but you can just simply care and just be there.
That's sweet.
We got 9 good words, y'all.
Okay.
And counting.
Listen, and shout out to Keiva because definitely you were made to share your experience. Like it's impacted me. I met Keneya through a meetup that you had, and so I do want to say thank you. I always mention your name, but thank you, and I love you forever. My T1D sister.
Yes.
It matters.
It does.
Because like as people who've had it for over 20 years.
Yeah.
To see somebody who hasn't had it as long but still be like I get so emotional, y'all. But somebody who hasn't had it as long be so proud about it. Yeah. It matters.
And, we're a little older than you, a little seasoned,
Just a little bit, not too much.
So we didn't have like social media, weren't influencers. People weren't showing it on. Like we didn't have any like what you have. And so the way that you use social media, use your personality to do what you do, we appreciate you, girl. Sure. So, gentlemen, how do you balance being supportive without being overbearing or too hands off? And I will say you guys probably have your hands full because you all have some spicy women and you guys are kind of laid back and mild-mannered. So how do you balance that, Corey?
All right.
Supportive versus
So not being too much,
Yeah.
but still supporting, but then also not backing off too much as well.
I think it's a big balance in listening, kind of hear what's being asked, and sometimes we want to immediately run to like solving said problem. Sometimes we just need to kind of just listen and kind of ask how you want me to help you handle it versus immediately jump into I know how I can fix this. If you want me to fix it my way, we can fix it immediately. Sometimes that may not be the answer. So it's kind of like, how do you want me to fix it? That'll kind of best help you navigate the space that you may be in, so we can kind of get through it. So it's just more so I would say listening and allowing her to tell you, whether it's verbally or by nonverbal communication on how you could possibly make the situation better. So that's what I would say.
That nonverbal is key because sometimes when my sugar is low or it's high, I don't want to talk to you. You should know how to do this by now. Like in my head, right? Every situation is different. Babe, you wanna shed some light on how you balance that?
So I think learning how to just be a sounding board was something that I had to adjust to. Because sometimes it's not necessarily a fix that she's looking for. Sometimes she just needs to vent and get it out. And also, when it comes to being overbearing, if you've ever met my wife, you know it's just not gonna happen. If I'm doing too much, she's gonna let me know that I'm doing too much. So I try to put myself in a space where I allow her to feel whatever it is she's feeling. And then if she needs me or if it's something that I know that I can assist with, then I'll do that. So like when her sugar gets too high, she gets hot. So I know now is not the time to touch her. Like just give her that space because she's told me before, like move your hand because I'm hot right now. So like that's something that I had to learn how to deal with. So like taking the time to like want to learn what happens in certain situations was something that I had to adjust to because I've only had 2 experiences with diabetes personally, my grandfather and then my wife. So my grandfather was a lot different than my wife is because he wasn't active. He was a lot older. So how he handled it is a lot different than how she handles it. So I had to learn what it looks like being a support system for her versus how I was with my grandfather. So like that was one of those things. When it's too high, I move in a certain way. When it's low, I move in a certain way. But that was one of those things that I had to learn through trial and error. But I think we're in a good space now. So sometimes it's just best for me to not do nothing, and then sometimes it's best for me to move in a certain way. But that's one of those things that I learned as time went on.
Yeah, similar to the other 2 gentlemen. I would say ultimately it's really just learning your partner. And I think I'm still learning, but you know, I've said this twice I think already. Like I'm naturally like, what can I do? I'm a task driver. Like let's get it done. So I've learned to balance most of just shut up half the time, right? Just be quiet. I'll I'll ask questions, right? To Corey's point, like just ask the question. And sometimes I'll just watch, like in a creepy way. I'm just watching, like okay, I think she's feeling it. Let me just watch her. So I'll just do that. So it's really just depends on the day. I'll either ask a question or I'll just watch or you know she'll actually be verbal and tell me. So hey, you want me to get you some juice or something like that. So I'll say it's a daily thing where I'm trying to figure out what the balance looks like. But generally, I know to just shut up half the time or ask a question.
Well, and I will say that. So there's 2 things to that. The first thing is I think there's also learning for me in this process because I think diabetes teaches you a way to be very independent.
Yes.
Right? So like you have to learn, like I was 10 years old. I did not have a nurse at the school I was at. I know, like I was giving myself shots at 10. Most 10-year-olds are not doing that, right? Like I had to be very mindful of what I ate. I had to stay up to date on what's out there to take care of myself. And so letting someone else in is new for me, right, in this way. Like you have your parents who are caretakers in a different way, right? But like someone who is with you this intimately is very different. And so learning how I can support him in his learning and also allow someone to support me is a journey too. So that's different. And so I have to give grace and allow him to like know that he's now on this new journey with me that I've been on for so long, but from a different perspective. So that's a really big thing. But also one thing I can appreciate about Theo is like, and this is the benefit of having, you know, men who are kind of more introspective. I remember, I tease sometimes with this story. When we were dating, I remember on Instagram, you know, it tells you who likes what. So he liked a certain picture, and I was like, okay, he liking pictures. Let me see who he following. So I go, I'm not even this person, but I was this person. So I go, and I look at, like, his, like, you know, who he's following, and I see all these diabetes pages. And he did not tell me this. And I was like, so he's really learning up, trying to read up on, like, what it is and all that stuff. And I had no idea. I had no idea. And so to this point of like listening, learning, he's like watching me, but also taking initiative to understand like, what is this? I'm not as familiar. I didn't have to grow up with this. Like, help me learn to understand. We share notes, like where he's like, all right, so write your scale down so I can remember it. So it's one of those things where everyone has their different ways of trying to learn, but seeing him lean in, but also allowing him to lean in and give back is really big as someone who has diabetes. When you operate on just being independent, I let him help me put my CGM on. Like, that's a big step. Like, okay, I'm letting you into my thing now, right?
Don't mess it up.
Yeah, right.
That's a lot of pressure.
And if he does, like, even with putting a little, like, this, he's like, okay, stand still, because I got to put this on so it stays, kind of thing. So I think it's learning on, like, both ends, and I appreciate the space to be able to do that with someone who operates with that patience. But I'm also learning patience to let him in. So if he doesn't know that irritability in my low, they besties, they twins, right? And so I may not have the best attitude, teaching him that, hey, give me grace, I'll give you grace too in this moment. So
Also, she has to, with the irritability, she has to let me, like, you have to announce you're having a, because I'm like, hold on, why you got a little attitude?
What's wrong?
I just walked in the room. So, yeah, that takes time.
Right, and be like, my blood sugar's low, or my blood sugar's high. I'm sorry.
Right, yeah.
Because, they spicy.
Yeah,
naturally.
look,
So sometimes
in
I'm
real
trying to
life,
figure out
the diabetes just adds a different kind of spice. Yeah.
Which one is it?
Right. Now I answered something right earlier. Like, what happened? Lingering.
But to your point, getting it at such a young age, because I was 11, and my mom and my dad, although they were there for me, take me to doctor's appointments, whatever I needed them to do, they've never given me a shot. It's always been me. And so when we started dating, I think he just started putting my CGMs in maybe 2 years ago. No, it was 2025. So 2 years ago.
It's barely
Don't do that.
2025.
Hey.
Keys will be in my home. The math.
2 years ago, 1.5 years. And that was a huge step for me because I get anxiety sometimes putting my CGM in or my pump site into, because it's almost like Russian roulette. You don't know if it's gonna hurt, if it's not gonna hurt, if you gotta put it back in, if it's gonna work. And so it's like it's
a moment.
It's a whole
Like
like
Rocky
sit on the
warming
side
up.
of the
Yeah.
bed, like, okay, God, like, let's do this. Like, please, if you don't make this hurt, like, I promise I won't do X, Y, and Z. Like, it's a whole thing. So then now to give him that power in such a vulnerable moment, and it is empowering because it's empowering for him, and it's also empowering for me because it's like I don't have to do this by myself.
Yeah.
But because I had to do it for so long, I'm very much independent. And so letting him in, especially into one of the most vulnerable places in my life, is like, it's been great. It's been good. So now his job is, if he doesn't put it in directly, his job is definitely put the sticker around it and the reinforcement sticker around that one.
Yep.
And so I think he said it before, but I think that's one of our proudest moments, like a breakthrough moment for us.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because I think there was a time where like I put the CG in without him. He might have been busy. I put it in. He was like, "Hold up, that's my job. Like, you did that without me." And I was like, "There's a sticker left." He was like, "Okay, I guess, but like, what happened? Like, this is our thing, right?" So you're right. It's something. It's nice to be able to bring that person in to do that for me. Like when I change my pump site, because you're right. Sometimes it's like, woo, and sometimes you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that did not feel the way I thought it was
Right.
going to. It hit
Oh, my
something.
God.
And I don't know what it hit, but
Yes.
and so it's to the point I do this countdown where it's supposed to be 3, 2, 1, but I don't know when I'm going to press it. He doesn't either, but he participates. He's like, so on 2 I can press it. He's like, okay, I was in it. We're good, right? So like, you're right. It is nice to have them in that, and for you all to lean into that.
Yeah.
Like it really is nice because, as you said, like that's not something that even some of the people who are closest to us leaned into in that way. And it means a lot to come from a person who literally has to live alongside with us in this journey.
Okay, so Keiva and Corey, how do you all handle diabetes-related stress as a team? And now as new parents, too. Whoa. Let's talk about it.
I think for me, what's honestly crazy, because diabetes has taken up so much space in my life since I've had it, now that I have my daughter, like I almost forget, y'all. My pump be dying. I forget to change my CGM. Like it's like I think it's so shocking to me too because I'm like I've never been that person. Like I can't believe I did that. But being so consumed with baby girl has like took so much pressure off of it as well. Until I have burnout. So now, like with me telling you guys how I've been working out, just trying to find something for me to just breathe or just like I don't know how to describe it. Like what's the word? Like just to relinquish some of that stress. Because some days my blood sugar, like I took my pump off, never done this before. I had took it off maybe 3 months. Like that's a long time. And then when I realized like, okay, I've lost control. Like I need to snap back. I need to put this thing back on because I forget to take the shots. I go to sleep, I wake up, and now he's coming in the room. Your blood sugar almost 400. What are you doing? And it's me sometimes trying to play it off like, oh shoot, for real? How that happened? Like, because I know him like, well, why did you do that? Why did you? But sometimes you just need to like detach, you know? And it's a lot. It just is a lot. But I will say that now, from the difference of just having diabetes to now being a mom and Kalani just taking up all that space, I'm not as stressed from it anymore. And I don't know, I'll shout out to my baby girl because I don't let it carry so much weight that I used to. But I am getting better at making sure that I stay in control of it. Because like I said, sometimes I spiral out, crash out a little bit, and like forget it. But it's like, okay, it comes back to her. You need to be okay to take care of her. So just making sure, like, whatever I need to do to take care of me so I can take care of that and her, just got to figure it out.
To add to that, I would say just communication. Trying to just talk through tough moments, whether it's new injections or giving yourself shots, or whether it's stress about anything, diabetes or non-diabetes related. Just trying to talk through it, and I'm just trying to figure out how we can kind of move through the situation the best we possibly can. But just ultimately, just communication through whatever the situation may be. To just put our best foot forward, honestly. But just a little bit deeper on going into like just the stress aspect of it. Whether it's on top of communication, just being there for one another, and just listening. Because it's stress presents itself, whether it's, like I said, diabetes or non-diabetes related. It could come at any type of situations at any time. So it's just kind of making sure we communicate and taking care of each other, like on the surface level or beyond the surface level, rather, to just know what's going on with each other. Again, whether it's diabetes or other things that she may be going on, whether it's with our daughter, whether it's with work, whether it's with family, whatever the case may be, just communicating through it all to figure out what's going on and just being there, being a real partner, whether it's a care partner, diabetes related, or just being a true partner in life in general, just communicating and working it out together, though.
I need some snaps or something. I just feel like I will say what I appreciate about you, babe, is when I'm stressed on the side of that bed and I'm about to put in my CGM, he'll just rub my back. Like, he won't even say anything. He'll just rub my back or rub my arm, and it's like, it's going to be all right. Just take your time. Put it in. You'll be all right. So I appreciate that about you. The subtle things that you do. Or when I'm about to crash out as you speak, I'll just cry and just lay in his lap. Be like, I'm tired. But
Well, I think one that's growing up in general, when you hear about diabetes, it's always negative. Like people are amputation. I mean, they lead with that, right? Like I have people who I've met. They're like, "Oh, you're diabetic." I know a girl who died in her sleep. I'm like, why did you want to lead with that? Like,
I don't understand.
So
that.
You already have this like natural anxiety that just comes with, and that's just when you have a chronic. We all have stresses of the world, like just generally, right? Then you have a chronic illness, and it can lead to all these, and so. Sometimes you're like, well, is this my day? My foot hurt. This the time is coming.
Girl, yes.
Right? Like, you stub a toe, you're like, I'm going to lose this one tomorrow. So it's like all these different things. And so two things that I think have helped, in addition to what you're saying, is being able to communicate. I think that's something that we've had a lot of conversations ever since we were dating. But one for me was changing my perspective on diabetes, like owning it, not letting it own me. has been a big thing for me in terms of how I shift even having this this ailment, and then not leading with fear, right? So recognizing that not everything is, so if my eye hurts, maybe your sinuses, Keneya. Like, you're not going blind, girl. Chill out, it's spring, right? So, like, not leading with fear. And I will say there were moments in our relationship where I led with fear. And so you transfer that then to your partner. So now they're like, well, I didn't think I needed to be worried, but I guess I have to be worried. So now I'm worrying him about something that's not even a thing because I'm leading with fear. So that's something I'm practicing, because it's a journey, right? I'm practicing, continue to practice, but I think it helps in some of the things that you're talking about when you're like managing the stress of having diabetes.
And I guess maybe you want to elaborate on that too, babe, if you want to share. But, amputations and all the complications, they do show up more in Black communities than any other race due to a number of factors, right? And so Kenneth's grandfather died from complications of diabetes. And so I don't know what made you want to take this on, but you did. Do you kind of want to talk to what that fear or anxiety may feel like or come from?
So one of the words I chose to describe like our relationship when it came to diabetes was anxiety for me, because so I'm a military brat. I grew up military. I moved around a lot. I didn't have a relationship with my birth father until I was in my 20s. My stepfather was military, so he was gone a lot. He moved around a lot. So I learned a lot about being a man, how to provide, how to do things from my grandfather. My grandfather, we grew up in the South, so my grandfather, he had a third grade education, but he did everything himself. He was a carpenter. He was about 6'2", 6'3". And when he passed away, he was a quadruple amputee. So he had no legs and he had no arms when he passed away. So for me to see him go from the man that he was, because he didn't show a lot of emotion. Like he did things through action. So if he cared about you, if he loved you, he would talk trash. He would pick on you. Like, he wasn't the emotional type. Like, he teased you, and that's how you knew he cared about you. So from seeing him the way I grew up to seeing how he passed away, like that bothered me, because growing up, the only thing I knew about people that had diabetes was they couldn't drink a lot of sweet stuff. So if I had to fix him something to drink, I had to do half tea, half water, or I had to do half juice, half water, because he got the sugar. So all his drinks got to be cut with some water. Or, if he ate, because we grew up in the South, we ate rice like 6 days a week, not knowing that sweet things aren't necessarily the reason why you have diabetes. Like, it's other aspects to it other than just drinking sweet juices. So for me, like, my experience with my grandfather growing up and how he passed away, how he dealt with his diabetes, was a complete 180 to how Portia manages her diabetes. Because I used to give my grandfather shots when he needed to take his medicine. And then when I met Portia, she was active, she was young, she had a CGM. Like, it was a complete 180 when it came to our relationship. But for me, there's still that fear, because I know we're in our 30s now, but it's hard for me to separate sometimes the decline of my grandfather from the future that we'll have together, because it's always a part of me that feels like, we're 30 now, but Lord's willing, we'll live to see 60, live to see 70. Like, I want to be in a position where we're still doing things together. Like, I don't want to have to take care of my wife. Like, I'm going to do it regardless, because this is my wife, but like, I want us to be in a position where that's not our eventuality. Like, I want us to be in a place now where we're doing the steps now, where 20 years from now we can still actively go out and do things, because it's like you work hard in your youth and you get old, and then you're physically, or because of your health, you're not in a position to actually enjoy the labors of your hard work. So, like, there's always a level of anxiety for me when it comes to diabetes, just because I don't want my wife to end up the way I had to watch my grandfather end up. Not saying that she is, because she does things completely different than he did. The knowledge is way different. The technology is way different. But just the human part of me is like, I saw the great man that he was, and I saw how the Lord took him away. And I don't want that for us. So there's always that level of anxiety and paranoia, just because, like, I don't know if mentally I can deal with that, because this is my wife. Like, like this is my wife. So like that is not a possibility. So we got to figure it out now. So like our future doesn't end up in that space, so to speak.
It's not. I got you. You got me. All right. Last question, and then we'll go to like some fun questions about it, right? What's one piece of advice you give to somebody new to this role, to my care partners, and then to my T1Ds? What should one look for in a partner, being that you do have diabetes? So we'll go with the care partners first.
I would say one piece of advice is be a forever learner. Like, be open to learning, wanting to understand what your partner's going through. And I think also, I think you brought up the word humble earlier. Being humble enough to know is not your life. You're a part of it, and you're a partner, but it's not yours. And so, I think that's it. Just being the best partner you can be, and part of that is really just wanting to learn and observe and care for that person.
Advice, I'll go back to one of the 3 words used initially. It was just have patience, and like you said, just be open-minded to things that may come up, things that you may not be privy to. It's going to be a bunch of newness into it, but it'll be well worth it. So let's just have some patience and just be okay with the ups, the downs, and everything will be okay.
And get your sleep somewhere else.
I think I would 2 things. One, to touch on what you said, patience. Patience is definitely important, just because this is not a journey that I'll ever understand. Because I'm 37, she's had it for over 25 years, so I'll never know what that journey feels like. So from the outside looking in, just having patience and giving grace, because this is not something I have to deal with on an everyday basis. And then grace too, if I can share. You can share. All right, so grace in the aspect that, like, there are normal things that we do in life that are impacted by my wife's diabetes. So it's not necessarily something that you can prepare for, and it affects you in ways that you don't know until you're in the moment. So to share a story that happened to us last night. So I am an electrician by trade. I'm a commercial and industrial electrician. So my work schedule is typically 6 a.m. to 2 to 4 p.m. So because of where I live and because of where I work, my alarm usually goes off about 4:30, 4:40 in the morning. So the schedule that I'm on now, I work 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. So it's not often that we have time to just like go out and have fun and have a good time, because a lot of times when we go out, we have to be back at a certain time because I have to get up early. So last night was one of those nights. So I'm off on Sundays most days. So when we go out, like I want to go out, I want to have time, spend time with my wife. So because we're currently in a phase where we're trying to like cut back and change our lifestyle, how we eat and how we drinking, we don't drink as much as we used to when we go out. Now my wife is she's a little different when she has a few drinks. So her name is Portia, but after a few drinks, she becomes Renee. So Renee is a little different than Portia on most occasions. And being that we're in this phase now where we're changing our habits and our behaviors, I don't see Renee as much as I used to. So if there's an opportunity for Renee to come out and visit, I'm going to.
We didn't agree to all of this.
I'm going to lean into that.
Come on, Renee. It's all good.
Space, Renee.
So last night was one of those nights.
I was ready to be.
I know. Like, I got off work. I came home. I chilled for a little while. She was at the game. We were hanging out. We ended up going to the bar. Just met some friends. Had a good time. Just laughing, drinking, having a good time. And, as men, as husbands, or as spouses, once you've reached a certain level of intoxication and your lady's at that space, like, you kind of got a feel for how it's going to end, right? Like, you make sure you don't do nothing to mess it up, because at this point you've already won the game. You just got to get to the fourth quarter. So last night was one of those nights. Like, we playing the game. The game is great. We're winning. It's the fourth quarter. Everything is good. So we leave. My son was at my mother-in-law's house at the time. Our son was at my mother-in-law's house at the time. So I went home. Portia went to pick Peanut up. And then she was coming home. And then,
Game time.
right.
Then
game
Renee was
time.
gonna come up. Yeah.
Absolutely, because she was jigging. We had a great time. So when she got home, like it was an unspoken understanding we were gonna be okay. So when she got home, Peanut got situated. He was downstairs. We were upstairs. I had already taken a shower while she was gone, so I was good. She came home, great moment, and then beep beep beep. It was her alert for her sugar. It was low. I was like, all right, cool. We've been here before. I was like, all right, cool. And so one of the things that I do to kind of help with my anxiety, like I either buy like the little 6-packs of apple juice that'll keep on her side of the room, or I'll buy like some candy, some gummies, some Airheads, and I'll hide them under the bed. So if her sugar gets low, I'll just give her one, wait my 5-10 minutes, and then her sugar is good. So last night was one of those nights. I was like, all right, this is not how I thought it was going to go, but her sugar is low, so all right, we're going to take a few minutes. Yeah, make sure she's good. So I gave her an Airhead. She had a juice. She asked me to go downstairs to get her something to eat so she could eat, and that's good. And what I've learned through the 10, almost 11 years we've been together, like it is a definitive 15-minute window.
At least.
Right? So from the time like kids are settled, get undressed, whatever, you got about 15 minutes before she gets sleepy. Like before the liquor really kicks in and she gets sleepy and it's just not happening. So we were about 7-8 minutes into this window when I came back with the food and she was eating and she was laying in the bed and it was just like, it's not happening. And I love my wife. She's like, babe, don't be mad. And I'm like, I can't be mad at you because this is not something that you chose. This is not something that, you just like, all right, I'm about to punish you and nothing's about to happen. Like, this is a part of our life and it happens. So, yes, there are times where, for me, it's an inconvenience. But again, like, this is not something that she chose because I'm pretty sure this is not what she had in mind when she came home. So, like,
It's not. It's an inconvenience for me too.
right. So, like, that's one of those things, like, living or being in this type of relationship, you just have to take it all because there are things that you have in mind. There are places you want to go, things you want to do. Like you can outline it the best you can, but life just life. So if she's having a moment or if she's having a crisis or if her sugar drops or if it's too high, like you just have to adapt in that moment. And I'm learning to give grace because despite of what I want, at the end of the day, this is my wife. So me wanting to do whatever it is I want to do doesn't compare to the long-term health of our relationship, the long-term health of my wife. So last night it's funny now. Last night, it wasn't that funny last night. But yeah, so like that, in a nutshell, is like what it's like to be a caregiver because you can have the best intentions, but at the end of the day, you just have to adapt to whatever happens.
Thanks, babe. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate your patience always. It is. Okay, so we have some fun questions, which actually I was going to save that story for one of these fun questions, but since you already told that, you got more. I got more. Oh, this is your time to shine, huh? All right, Correy and Keiva, you guys can pick one.
You pick it.
Out of the love box.
I don't have my glasses on, so you might have to read it, honey. You can't read either.
What's your proudest moment as a care partner? My proudest moment? Wow. Well, I mean, we've had moments where I felt like I was extremely needed in a certain situation, and I
Saved my life.
and did what I was supposed to do in that particular moment. But so I mean, that would be a proud moment, but it's kind of a scary situation to consider be proud of because you don't want it to actually happen. But I mean, I am proud that I was prepared and ready to act in a situation. But again, well, I guess I'll tell the story. I guess.
Yeah.
going to her workout. So she's doing her 5 a.m. workouts now. So we're in an awesome space now with it. But it's maybe been a couple years back. She was getting into working out, and me being the former collegiate athlete, that, hey, I can give you some small things that we could just do at home, just so it doesn't have to be too much. We can just do something small, something minor. We were doing something like body weight squats. It was very, very mild, chilled at your own pace, but like she was saying, something happened where blood sugar, I think it went up.
It went up, but it wasn't even like super high. It was
Yeah.
spiked, but it wasn't. To me, that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, so she had a quick spike in her blood sugar, and
Down
she
goes blood
she kind of passed out. And I just, like you said, when the blood sugar goes up, it's the body heat starts, or the body temperature starts to rise. So just being quick thinker, quick on my feet, I just grab a cold rag just to try to cool off her body temperature, like real quick. I grab her medicine, just quick thinking, just to kind of act to do the opposite of what's happening to her body, kind of, because her body seemed like it was kind of going in shock, so to speak. So it was just kind of just being in there for her and being there to react in those particular moments to make sure she was okay. But I would say that's a proud moment that I was able to actually be there, like I said, and do that for her. But you don't want to be in those situations, though.
Yeah, let me add on to that, because I was confused on how he just knew what to do. And he was like, well, I mean, if you're hot, you need to cool down. I guess it was common sense. But for me, too, I was like, he just saved my life. Because I literally remember just being like, I don't know what's happening, but it was like I could feel like the tingling from my feet going, like, I just vividly remember going up my body to, like, when it got, like, right here. That's when it was like, oh my God, I'm seeing black. I ran in the bathroom. I don't know why my first instinct is always to run into a bathroom. And like, I don't know if I'm trying to hide or what's going on, but I ran in the bathroom and I remember seeing my blood sugar, I think was like 190, which I was like, this shouldn't be happening. Like, this is crazy. So of course I think I'm about to die. I don't know what's going on. I didn't tell him to call the ambulance, call my mama. Like, I just started spazzing out. But by the time I got to the bathroom, I just remember everything going black and I just dropped to the floor, like by the toilet. And I like he said, he got the cold rag. I don't remember, but I just remember like leaning over the sink. Like, I don't know, somehow he got me to the sink and he just had cold water going like on my neck. And I just remember being like this, like that. Yeah. And it was like, I'm back. Like, what was that about? And I was just, after the fact, everything cooled down. I was like, how did you know what to do? And like you see, he's so calm. He's just so like, so I just be like, oh, it don't bother him. He good. He know what he doing. But just really understanding like that's not a space that, felt good to him too. So I try to use my words differently now when I try to talk about him, because, I mean, it's still a good thing that I feel like, oh, he just does it so well, but also understanding like that didn't make him feel good, girl. Like, that wasn't even all about you, you know what I'm saying? But he just does it like so good. Like, I don't know. It makes me calm because I'm a person, I panic a lot too. Like, I don't know why I go to like, oh my God, I'm finna die, or like my foot finna fall off. But he just is always so like calming. Like, just, you're gonna be okay. Like, just breathe. And he helps me practice my breathing. I hold my breath a lot. I don't know why I do that. And then I'll be like, oh God, I can't breathe. And he's like, breathe. And I was just like, oh, okay, that was kind of easy. So yeah, he just handles it very well. I can't imagine like ever being in a space like where someone else like had to do like what he does for me. Like, he's always my one call. It happened at another gym. I was hanging out with somebody else, and I just told them like I fainted at the gym. I thank God I didn't hit my head on any of the machine, but I woke up and I ended up throwing up that time. Once I got up, and I was like, "Where's my phone?" Somebody called Corey. Like, call Corey, and he pulled up to the gym. Came in, and he got me. But and I think that was where it started for me. I'm never working out again. I played sports my entire life, so for me, it was a very hard space for me to be in because I'm adventurous. I want to run around, I like to move. I can't sit still. Like, that's not me. So being able to have to sit like that, I think that was something I struggled with. So now I'm just so happy to like just do anything. I don't care if it's at 5 a.m. Like, I'm about to go do something and get active. But yeah, thank you, honey.
So you talk about him being this like real cool, calm, and collected person, problem solver. Like, did you see those things when you all were dating? Like, what else did you see in Corey that made you feel like, you know what, I can take him on this journey with me. He wants to be on this journey with
I
me.
think the first story was like it always sticks in my head. Kind of speaking to how y'all was talking about Renee. Y'all ain't the only ones, you know what I'm saying?
Listen.
That happens. Because
Listen.
that's considered a workout. You feel me? So there have been times where sometimes too, this isn't good. Don't do this, y'all. I try to act like it ain't happening because I got to do what I got to
Listen,
do. Okay.
I got a 5-minute grace period.
Okay. I'll be looking at it, it be like, already going down. I probably got a little bit more. But there have been times where I literally have almost like fell. He's like, what are you doing? Just stop. And I'm like, no. Like, keep going, keep going, keep going. But I think it was one night I literally had to slide. I didn't want to wake him up because you know the aspect of feeling like a burden. He has to get up and he has to go to work and stuff like that. And I tried to slide out the bed myself. And I was sweating. It was a really bad low. Like, it was like, you can't really see well. You can't move, walk. And I just remember guiding the wall. And I went to the steps to try to, like, I sat down and was trying to scoot down to go get something to drink. And I don't remember if he was downstairs. I don't remember what happened. But all I know is he got up, he ran, like, straight out his sleep. And he got me some sweet tea. And I was just like, oh, he like me for real. Like, okay. So I was like, okay. He never made me feel like, oh, this is too much. Because, you know, there are certain people, whether it's an intimate relationship or not, oh, you got to do that in the bathroom or like, I don't want to see that, or just make you feel like, oh, my God, like, I really have, like, an elephant sitting on top of my head or something, because why is it what I'm doing not normal to somebody else? And granted, it's not a lot of people's norm, but having someone that makes you just feel like, oh, it's just another layer to you. Like, it's okay. Like, you still, you know, that garage. Yeah, he just always made me just feel like it's okay. Like, it's not that deep, or you're going to be okay. So, yeah, definitely that story. I think I will never forget it because I was just like, wow, he really, like, he want to help me. He like me for real. So I was like, okay, we can do this. And I think that's when I kind of just was like, I married him in my head, like, before we even was together. And like, so what we talking about earlier, he was like, you didn't even know if I had something going on, like, or it didn't even matter. It ain't going on no more. Like, this is it. So I was like, okay, Mr. Sleazy.
Hilarious.
I just realized you did ask that question earlier, so I'm just answer it about what you notice in a partner. Someone who takes
That's my dad's comment.
we know that sound.
Right.
They know that sound. Okay. Someone who actually takes interest. So to your point around someone who was like, that's all you. Like, you handled it. Like, someone who actually seems like, okay, what do you need? Or like how I talked about him looking stuff up, or just asking questions, or just staying in the room. Like, I think, you know, it is, dating with diabetes can be nerve-wracking because you don't know who is actually dating in general. Okay, let's take a pause there.
Okay.
But then you add diabetes on top of it. You're like, okay, I know I come with a little extra baggage. You know, it's a cute bag, but a little heavier than some. But you know, when you know you come with that to the table, someone who actually is like, I'm not gonna just leave you here by yourself. So I would say be willing to have the conversations, right? Being willing to listen, being willing to talk about, well, what does that mean for you, right? So if I am explaining a symptom, well, what does that actually mean versus just like, okay, well, you'll take care of that. Like, you'll handle that on your own, right? So finding that in a partner. And honestly, there's a this is by coincidence because you got 3 spicy women and 3 like patient like well, so I don't know if that's the patience on top of that and just taking interest, I think, are 2 things that are really important, regardless of personality type, when you're looking for a partner to really help, and the understanding piece that comes with that. So Theo is all those and more. He fine too, but he's all that and more. So it just I can't even think of a specific moment. I can think of so many different stories and conversations, but I think for me, that's what really mattered. I called my mom and I was like, Mom, guess what he did? She was like, girl, really? I was like, yeah. She was like, that's your husband. I said, I already know. So I think, you know, when you see those things, to your point, you're like, oh, I claimed him. Like, this is, you know, pray for it. So I think that is what really, to me, stands out in terms of what I found, what I looked for, and what I didn't even look for. I didn't even know I needed that till I got it, to be honest. Like, you don't know how much you need it until you get it, because, you may have had experiences where you didn't get that and you're like, this is what it is, but then you get it and you're like, I actually need this, right? So I didn't know I needed it till I got it, but I really appreciate it and don't want to let it go. So
So
this
y'all
is
thought y'all chose us, but really, in our heads, we had already claimed y'all.
first moves,
We'd already
listen,
claimed
okay,
y'all.
I already claimed you in my head. my man. Okay.
Period. Okay, what question did you pull, Theo?
What's the funniest or most unexpected thing that's happened because of diabetes?
See, you stole my story, babe, but it's okay. You told it really well.
I will say that to Keiva's moment, you're right. Unless it says low or in that 40 range, you're like, okay, 68, I'm just starting. Okay. I know what it feels like. I'm not sweating yet.
Right, so we good.
I don't feel nothing for
my
real,
God.
for real. Dexcom just hit it, so we
Right.
got a little bit of a range.
It might not even be calibrated all the way.
Listen.
It might be a little,
Yes, that's
I
that's the
we
thing.
good. Like I made you
Yeah.
regulate.
Look,
But that's
meanwhile, in
swag.
my journal, I'm like, yeah, I got it like that. She risking her life.
No, that sweating is a real thing, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it.
Facts.
I'm like, if I can just not do the most right now, we can keep going. But if I have to do the most, we gotta take a break.
Okay.
So it's up to you.
Full disclosure. She said, babe, I can give you my side right now. That's all I got.
Oh my gosh.
I can give you my side right now. He's like, look, I'll take it.
Yeah. Niggas can't be choosers.
Yeah.
We know our limits
Nah.
in any situation.
Yeah. Now, if I'm sweating, then that thing, then okay, we gotta take a break. But
It's
about
ain't
a
safe
10
no
minute,
more.
5 to 10 minute grace period.
I done forgot the question, y'all. But yes.
I will. The question is, what's the funniest or most unexpected thing that's happened because of diabetes? I don't know if I have at least for me, I don't know if I have a funniest or unexpected, but back when Keneya was using the needles more, because you don't really use them much anymore, right? When you were using them before, I just found them everywhere, like the needle little cap, and I'm just like, what in the hell? So it was funny, but also a little. I'm a neat freak, and I was like, all right, now she needs to start picking up after herself. She the only one using these. But it was funny because it literally just everywhere in the crevices of the couch, the car, just everywhere. It was everywhere. So it was pretty funny to me.
Test strips
it's
used to
true,
be
though.
everywhere.
But see, because
and test strips.
The test strips used to be
yeah.
everywhere.
But see, the thing is, you have to stay prepared as a diabetic. Like, if I could keep insulin in my car, I would. Like, you have to always have. So if that needle's in the couch, it might be for good reason. Like, I'm watching TV and I'm like, you know what? I'm joking. It wasn't on purpose. But it is important. Like, every purse I have, even though I have a pump, it still has syringes,
Yes.
just by default. And then I make sure when I go out, I have my vial of insulin with me, right? Every vacation, I still have my test strips. So you have to be prepared at all times. And he's like, we are not prepared because these needles are everywhere. So yeah,
So what do y'all tell people when they come over and they find needles in the
why are you looking at my house so much? You got just one little spot, okay?
you got going
Back
on
to
in the
it,
house?
okay? No, I think, and I will say because, well, if we invite you into our space, we also feel trust there. So
Exactly.
you
For
should
sure.
know
You already
is
know.
you already know what's going on. So I should feel comfortable. No one's allowed in my house.
But if you stick yourself, we are not responsible.
We make you sign a liability form at the door saying any injuries are your fault and your fault of your own for not being more thoughtful where you step. Exactly. But like if you come into our space, you have to know to the point where like if you are friends, if you are family, like this is Keneya. Like his friends. We were going to visit one of his friends. And we were going to stay with them. And Theo gave them a heads up. Listen, she's diabetic. She has, this is how she eats, this is how, whatever. And so they were very thoughtful coming in. So that's something that we're thoughtful of. And I appreciate him for being cognizant. He's also like, okay, don't be too extra though. Like, don't be asking her, because, people sometimes can be a little bit, again, oh, you got the sugar. I don't. You don't have to.
Right.
I can
Don't
go
bring me
hand pump.
sugar-free syrup.
Right.
Don't bring
I don't want that. Okay. Give me the real stuff. Okay. Don't pour water in my tea. I want the real thing. Right. But yeah, you have to with that, you have to be very thoughtful around who you invite into your space.
Yeah.
Which I think is very important because you're very vulnerable
Yeah.
with this, right? And I think the older I get, the more vulnerable I am, or I want to be in my space. Because I remember being at a friend's house once and her saying like, "Oh, I was sleeping over," and she was like, "Oh, you can't take shots here." I was like, "Well, girl, unless you want me to die, just like sleepover, I have to. Like,
Yeah.
I have no choice, right?" Yeah.
Right.
You know, we do know each other, but we don't interact in the same way because exactly. And it starts making you, they're just the things people say sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't.
Because it lets me know my life could be in your hands at any given point in time, and you concerned about how you feel about something. You just want me to die?
Right. Or if you're out to eat, like, oh, can you hide? Like, speaking of moments, we on dates. I'm literally under the table. Why you under the table hiding that? Pull that out. He is more okay with like me
Right.
doing it in public, right, than I am. So you have to be very mindful who you can be vulnerable with, who you bring to that space, all that stuff. So that was another little thing when we were dating. So yeah, the list keeps going.
All I'm gonna say is, I don't obviously have type 1 diabetes, but live your truth. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
truly,
Yeah.
who cares? Like, do you? That's all I got. That's just me without it. So
Yeah. Was that we not answer it?
No, you good.
Oh,
We just
okay.
have the last- no, we just
I was
have
like,
the last question in the
okay.
box.
My bad. I was like,
Did we almost just
I kind of don't. I want to pick a certain question because I think this is just such a funny question
Go
to
ahead.
end the conversation with. If you had to choose diabetes care and 3 emojis, what would they be? So for my T1Ds, if you had to describe living with diabetes with 3 emojis, what would they be? And then my care partners, if you had to describe it, what would they be? Keiva, you go first. I feel like you got some good emojis.
Ooh. Listen, we're gonna use some flames. We're gonna use some flames, some caution signs, and some upside down smiley faces.
Definitely the upside down.
Yeah,
smiley
because
faces.
it's like kind of okay, but kind of
Yeah.
not.
I'm gonna add the big smile with like the sweat.
Oh, yeah,
the sweat, right, it's
sometimes.
like right here, and then the one with the eyes are like spiraling, like the.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, and then the blue heart, just because blue is the color of diabetes,
Yes.
and it's just it. Although it's been challenging, it's done so much for all of us in terms of our
Yes.
development and how we interact with each other, and we found each other through it. So there's a lot of good moments with
Mm-hmm.
it, and so I'm gonna end with the blue heart.
I'll start with the needle, hence my husband's comments. Even though I don't let anybody else, injecting with stuff, needles. I mean, we get used to that, even with the pumps and CGMs. Mine's like the melting face, because sometimes, you know what I'm talking about? The one that kind of
Yeah.
melts a little bit.
Half melted.
Yeah, because depending on the day, that's how I feel. And I also probably would go with the blue heart, just as a reminder, like, we got this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we do got this. Yeah. Okay.
Got your emojis right?
The first one would definitely be the emoji with the sweat, because it's anxiety. Like, that's anxiety. It's fun sometimes, then sometimes it's like, bruh. So that one, I would say the second one would be the one. It's like a half smile. It's like I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it because it's you. Because like that one comes up, and then I think probably like a plane or airplane, because it's a journey. It's like
That's a good one.
every day is different. Like, we're on this journey. Where we started is not where we are now. It's not where we're gonna be in the next 2-3 years. So it's definitely a journey. So I'd say like the airplane would be the third.
Ooh.
I would say emojis. I would say the shoulder shrug emoji, because you don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to go. Just be ready for it all, baby. I would say the smiley face emoji. Simply just to stay positive. No matter how it goes, what happens, you can't, like you said, because since you don't know, try not to. I'm not going to say don't, but try not to allow it to discourage you and get you down. So smile and try to be positive through it all. And then I would say the third, we create a new emoji. Like, we need to get an insulin vial emoji. That's what they need to add.
Come on.
There you go.
Everybody.
Let's get an insulin vial emoji added to it for obvious reasons, because we know how important it is, of course.
Right.
But I would say those three emojis.
Hey, Apple, give
Yeah.
him credit.
People can use them needles wrong, but we know what we're using them needles for.
Let me piggyback off the smiley with the sweat, because that's real. It's like everything will be all right. Let me get I like the journey part. I'm gonna get a boat though. It's a little slower. This is a slower journey. We ain't on no B6. And let me see. Let me get the what's the emoji with the hug?
Oh.
Because we here for you. So yeah, that's my third one.
Good. It's so cute. And I said that was our last question, but actually I would like for us to kind of just tell our care partners how much we appreciate them. So, I mean, I don't have anything prepared, but, I feel like they do so much for us. And it's not an easy journey to be on. And so, I really appreciate you. 10, 11 years down, forever to go. And you never make me feel like I'm a burden. And I think that's a big thing, because one of the reasons why I'm so independent is because I don't ever want to feel like a burden, right? I don't think anybody wants to do that, whether you have diabetes or not. But you never make me feel like that. And so I appreciate you despite the fear and the anxiety that you may have from your grandfather, fully embracing all of the things that come with me. This little spicy attitude, this outspokenness, and this diabetes. I appreciate you, and I love you so much.
Oh, that's it all. I'll go next. Oh, Corey. I appreciate you. I feel like my cheeks are like smiling so hard they hurt right now. I don't know why, but to what Portia said, I was already about to say, I was like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to say, but you've never made me feel like a burden. And I think that's so important, because I'm the needy out of my siblings always call me the needy one. So sometimes in the back of my head, I try not to like make myself seem needy, even though like I really may need you or need you to do something. But I'm like, let me just do it myself. But I feel like I can ask you for anything, like diabetes related, not. I'm like, I know my man's going to get it done. So just thank you for always being like literally anything and everything that I need. And especially when it comes to diabetes, like whether you got to go buy me a vial of that insulin or give me a shot, never said no. Like he's done shots, he's done Dexcom change, pump change. We got a Dexcom stuck one time. He took his brush, he was brushing his head. He took that brush, we knocking it like, it don't matter. Listen. And I just thank you for being willing and ready to do whatever is necessary for me.
I am very emotional when it comes to this. So if I don't look at him, it's not because I don't feel this, because I probably would cry a lot. Because I'm a thug on the outside, but on the inside, I'm a thug. You know what I'm saying? Like baby shit. But no, so I appreciate Theo more than I probably have the words to express. I've always shared with him that, I've always shared with you that since being diagnosed, I kind of felt like one of Santa's broken toys, for example, that sometimes can get easily discarded. And so it's nice to see somebody who not only tells me, but shows me, no, you're not. Like, you're worthy of all of this and more, without me asking. I told y'all, imagine, I was looking at him. It's a lot for me, but it never seems like a lot for you. And I appreciate that. Because to your point, I don't want to feel like a burden. And there are things you think of. I don't even think about. Like, I'm low on snacks. He already has 10 packs of juice in the car, and I'm like, I didn't know I needed any. He's like, I got some in the freezer too for backup. So, I think just having someone who
I'm not alone in this, and it feels so nice after so long to feel like I'm not alone and my life partner is there with me. So thank you for everything. There's a lot more to come in this journey. I imagine just in being married in general. We're learning this together.
Yes.
2 years in May, y'all shout out. We're learning we're learning this journey on top of all the other kind of caveats that come with being married as well. But there's nobody else I would want to do this with. And for that, I appreciate you. So I will leave it at that. I will get my tissue at the end.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Well, that concludes our conversation on caretaking for type 1 diabetics. Again, we appreciate you all for sharing your stories and your experiences. Until next time, y'all.
Bye, guys. That was good, y'all. We did.